You're watching the official Supercross Live post-show fueled by Monster Energy. Kevin Barnett and Jim Holley wrapping up the final round here in Las Vegas from Sam Boyd Stadium. We'll start out with the Supercross Lights class. Of course, the East and West Regional both in action here tonight. Jim, the East was up first. Again, all about Geico Honda, Justin Barcia.
He did. I mean, he's done what he had to do, earlier in the season. He gets that old shot and he kind of just checks out. But, Kenny Roczen kept him honest in that second spot. I mean, at one point I thought, well, maybe Roxon's going to maybe give him a fight for the win. But Barcia made a little bit of a bobble there and was able to pull out and just got back into his groove again and just walked away with it.
Baggett, Stewart, and Wharton rounding out the top five. Good rides for all of those guys. I thought Malcolm Stewart had one of his best performances of the year.
He did, and he had a good start, and he was consistent for all 15 laps. And you mentioned Baggett there. He rode good. He just said he tightened up, and he says, I can't wait for the outdoors.
And in that Supercross Lights Western Regional class, it was Eli Tomac. Again, the Geico Honda team so strong up front.
Yeah, he did exactly what his teammate did in that first, main event final on the East there. But, Tomac just gets the whole shot, and he really checked out. I mean, he was gone. I mean, and Wilson, he had to fight for it. I mean, he had a bad start. He had to come through. He had to move a few guys out of his way.
That shoulder looked good.
It did, and the first guy he moved was in that first turn. That was Sipes. He goes down, and he had to fight for it all the way. He had to come up and move Davalos out of his way. But, considering where he was last weekend, a 19th for Wilson, I think he's okay with that second.
And in that third place, Jim, was Will Hahn, again bringing his good ride to Vegas.
And Will's one of those guys that, he got injured at the beginning of the season, didn't have a podium all year, but he waits till Las Vegas, May 5th, the finals, to come up there, and he also got a bad start. But, two Geico Hondas on that podium in the West for the finals.
Well, how about fourth and fifth, the Rockstar Energy Suzuki rides of Jason Anderson and Martin Davalos in fourth. Those guys finished the season strong last couple rounds.
They did, and I talked to, their team manager, and he says, man, why weren't these guys up there before, having the problems? But, what a great way for those guys, Davalos and Anderson, to gain a little confidence for the outdoors starting Hangtown in a few weeks.
Of course, after those 2 points races, we had the Dave Coombs East-West shootout. And it turned out to be probably the best race of the night.
It was, and coming away with that whole shot, collecting $1,000 again, the East Coast champion, Barcia, he gets it and he starts checking out, but he had to fight. I mean, Davalos was right there.
Davalos was right there, yeah.
Davalos made the pass on him. I think, well, maybe Martin Davalos is going to get this East-West shootout, because it's strange. A lot of times when you're the champion, you don't win this thing, but Barcia won it tonight, and right behind him, his teammate. I mean, what can you say? I mean, a few years ago we were talking about the Monster Energy Pro Circuit team dominating, but it's all about the Geico Honda team this year in 2012 in those lights classes.
And you can tell those two guys definitely wanted a piece of each other. So moving on to that Supercross class, Jim, it was Mike Alessi up front with the whole shot, but then Ryan Dungey made quick work of him and checked out.
He did, and he went right underneath. But something I noticed about Dungey this year that has changed, in years past, maybe he didn't win the heat race, or he got a third or fourth, or had a bad practice session. That kind of carried over to the main event. But it seems like this year in those main events, he puts all that behind him, and I mean, he came out, and I mean, he checked out. I mean, at one point, I was down on the floor. He had a 12-second lead over Millsaps, but I mean, another win for KTM, and a lot of confidence going into Hangtown.
This couldn't have been a better season for KTM and Roger DeCoster. Obviously, they put this team together to win championships, and that's always the goal. But first year on the bike, of course, 8 days leading into Monster Energy Cup last October, and then this entire season under development with that 450. This has to go down as an incredibly successful season for KTM.
Roger's a hero.
Yeah.
That's what they paid him for, and I believe honestly in my heart that when they were here last year for the Monster Energy Cup and getting a chance to get that KTM under race conditions, I think that helped them out immensely when it came to Supercross season.
Dungey finishes third in points. He was tied with Justin Brayton, but because he has more wins, he gets the tiebreaker. But in second place, Davey Millsaps. Great season, best result over a season for JGR.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, different. I saw tonight with Davey Millsaps. He was racing. I mean, he wanted this thing. He wanted to come out there. He wanted to win it, but unfortunately, Dungey was way out. But, he said, well, if I can't win it, I guess I can get second. At one point, he even ran into the back of Weimer. I thought they were both going down, but they both saved it. And Davey wanted this one. He was racing hard all 20 laps here in Vegas.
How about Justin Brayton? He finishes in fourth overall in points. I talked to Eric Kehoe. He said, really happy with Justin Brayton. He also takes home the Rock Hard Ride Hard Award and $10,000.
Yeah, I think he was more happy that Brett Michaels gave him that guitar on the podium when I talked to him. But, he deserves it. I mean, here's a guy that, I look at one race for Justin Brayton that would have made all the difference, and I'm talking Dodger Stadium. He did not qualify, went down in the last chance race, and he lost a lot of points. You give him 5th place points, that man's sitting in 2nd in the points. So a great ride for the Honda Muscle Milk team, and you know, we'll see what they can do in the outdoors.
Yeah, I look at Ryan Dungey and his results with KTM, out 5 races and yet still finishes up in that 3rd position. You have to wonder what would have happened if he had stayed healthy. Even just the 2 Ryans. Obviously, we could talk about up and down about guys staying healthy, but even if just the 2 Ryans were there, it would have been very interesting.
They would have took it all the way down to Vegas to the final round. They wouldn't have wrapped it up, you know, Villapoto wrapping it up back in Houston. That wouldn't have happened. It would have went down here in Las Vegas. But, I mean, it was a great night tonight, a great day. I mean, the party in the pits was phenomenal. You know, it was just, the place was jam-packed tonight. I think the fans had a lot of great racing, and I like this format coming into the final round where it's a points-paying round for the East and West, and, hey, we don't even start the heat races. We just go right into some main events. I think it's pretty cool.
This is a fantastic show, and if you missed it tonight because it was sold out, you're going to have another shot to watch these riders in this venue with a very unique track, an SX-MX blend. It's going to be the Monster Energy Cup coming up October 20th here at Sam Boyd. And if you want to buy tickets, now is the time. Until May 11th, you can visit participating Terrible Herbst and Food for Less locations and pick up tickets at 50% off. Jim, that's quite a deal.
Well, it is, and I mean, you know, I'm glad that Terrible Herbst came on board. You know, a lot of people can save some money in this economy. I mean, to save 50% off of a Supercross ticket, that's phenomenal. But I'm talking more about next year, you know, the 2013 schedule. It's coming out. You know, we're going back to Minneapolis. Make sure you get, you know, check out supercrossonline.com to get those tickets. And the Cross Club guys, hey man, they're already a step ahead of everybody. They get a chance to buy them first shot. And you know, don't forget Anaheim. It's going to sell out. You know, it's just one of those races where, you know, everything builds to that. You know, you got the Monster Energy Cup on October 20th, and then everyone's changing different teams and things like that, and it's going to be good. Get your tickets.
Record attendance this year, 850,000 plus people enjoying Supercross. B, one of those 850,000. Get your tickets now. Plan your events for the upcoming 2013 season. As Jim mentioned, the Cross Club, it's free. Supercrossonline.com is your location for that. Jim, I want to say thanks to you. Thanks to Monster Energy.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks to Feld for bringing me on. I had a great time this season hanging out with you guys, and it was an amazing, amazing Supercross year. Despite all the injuries, we had some great racing, and I'm looking forward to 2013 and Anaheim 1.